Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 416. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Our next guest is author of the bestseller, Poverty Curse Broken, founder and CEO of RH Enterprise and Outreach Realty Services, founder and chieftain of the Millionaire Mindset International Sisterhood. Welcome, Dr. Roberta Hoskie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Dr. Frances. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your businesses?
Absolutely. I'm the chieftain and founder of Millionaire Mindset Sisterhood. It's an international faith-based sisterhood devoted to breaking what we have called the poverty curse, which includes mindsets, abilities to create wealth and break generational poverty to create generational wealth. Owner and CEO of Outreach Realty Services is a full service real estate brokerage. I'm licensed in Connecticut, New York, and Georgia, and growing. And also the founder and CEO of Outreach School of Real Estate, which is a real estate school that licenses real estate agents. In Connecticut, we license about 1,000 real estate agents, and we have reciprocity in 11 other states. And I'm happy to say that we recently hit all 50 states as it relates to continuing education and real estate prep courses. So anyone in any of the 50 states want to get in the real estate industry, specifically as a real estate salesperson, and need preparation to pass that state exam, we're set up in all 50 states. I love the book Poverty Curse Broken, the Roberta Hoskie story as an author. It's a new love, Frances. It was something that I did as a child, as I always journaled. And as an adult, I realized that journaling is therapy. And I realized that that was one of the methods that was used to help me deal with the life trauma of breaking the poverty curse is writing. But I wrote this book, Poverty Curse Broken, Roberta Hoskie story. And it actually was not supposed to be a book about myself. That was not the plan, because, there's some things that you just keep to yourself. And I was really writing a journal on 21 steps to break the poverty curse and giving tips, because I have these cards called 21-day mindset cards. I'm a true believer in as a man thinketh, so is he. And we could dive into that a little bit about how the transformation of my life happened. But it has a lot to do with mindset. But I was writing this journal to go on my 21-day cards. But as I'm writing, I start talking about like mommy issues. And I'm like, wait, that didn't have anything to do with it. Then I'm writing, I'm talking about daddy issues. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? Then I begin to just take the paper, crumble it up, hit delete. And then I start all over again. But I realized that I couldn't escape my story. And then I finally gave in and said, you know what? I'm going to do what I say and what we teach in the Millionaire Mindset Sisterhood, and that is to live in purpose and do that thing on purpose. So getting outside my comfort zone, and as we're entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are watching today, I know we can agree that the greatest triumphs have been getting out of the comfort zone. And if there's aspiring entrepreneurs, I'm going to say to you, your wealth, your success is going to be outside of your comfort zone. So I got out of my comfort zone, got scared, but had enough faith to overcome the fear and wrote this book. And it has been a bestseller. It's selling globally now. And I even have a contract for a movie. So that's fresh off the press right now on it. So yeah. So God be the glory.
Congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank you.
Why real estate?
Well, here's the story. And so it's going to go back to my story. So you'll find out that I live from the inside out. Real estate was my first real investment, and that first investment yielded me over $250,000. It was so powerful that it changed my life. But I need to explain to you that prior to making my first real estate investment, I was a single mother. I was homeless. So when I tell this story, I want to make sure that people understand that I didn't just show up here. There's been a process. So I was homeless, and I'll never forget what it felt like catching buses to see apartments that I couldn't afford because I was on welfare getting $417 a month. But I do remember the power of my first apartment, which was affordable housing, which was $79 a month, heat and hot water included. See, I use that as a hand up, not a handout, and it afforded me an opportunity to go to school and to better myself and better myself for my son. It wasn't about Roberta Hoskie. I wasn't on this journey to say, oh, Roberta Hoskie, the real estate mogul, because I touched over 7,000 properties now. That was not my purpose. My purpose was survival. Like many of our Black entrepreneurs and many of our brothers and sisters, were surviving. So I had a survival mentality. But that first investment wasn't from the mindset of let me invest in real estate. It was still a mindset of survival. I did not want my son to repeat my poverty. And everyone that's watching, I want you to understand that environment is very important. The environment of which you are raised, the environment that you surround yourself in is either going to catapult you or it's going to hold you back. And so I was able to look at my little brown boy who did not ask to be born to, at the time, a high school dropout, and a father who was a drug dealer, right? And so I looked at generational poverty and I said, I got to do something. I have to change the environment. What I found out is that I was able to buy the house that I couldn't rent an apartment in. And that's when light bulbs went off. It's like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I can own this house for less than the cost to rent an apartment in it? And that is the truth. So I bought a 4-family home. And it was sheer numbers of trying to figure out, how do I raise my son not in the projects? But I believe that, and if you don't mind, I am faith-based. So I believe that God didn't allow me to just happen to have this story and happen to fall into real estate. Real estate is powerful. It has been around since the beginning of time. It is something that will always be around. That real estate transaction, not only did it yield me over $250,000, changing my life, but it also afforded me more time and time to get my life right. And what I mean by that is the first house was a multi-family. I lived in a second floor unit. The mortgage was $1,100, which I couldn't afford that in rent. But I had a tenant for Section 8 on the third floor with $1,100. So I created my own affordable housing. Then I had 2 other units at $900 a month, $600 a month, and a cash flow $1,500 a month. So I saw that I have my mortgage paid and money coming in without me doing anything except investing. So I know that's a long answer to why real estate, but because I believe it answered a lot of the issues that I was having. And I believe that many of us don't know that, or don't know how to do that, and don't know you can buy a house even if you can't afford to rent. So that's another reason why I started to school. Real estate's super powerful, super powerful, super powerful.
And Dr. Roberta, let's talk about today. Would you still say that with inflation, with interest rates, would you have someone go that route?
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, no ifs, ands, buts, or half thoughts about it. It's about positioning and understanding that real estate is a cyclical market, meaning that it has cycles and everything is relative. Even though you have inflation, the cost to rent is higher, meaning on the opposite side. So if you're an investor, you're buying a unit, the unit costs more than what it would normally cost about 3 years ago, and the interest rate is high. Well, it's relative because now the rental rates are high. You follow me? So it levels each other off. And then you also have to know what parts of the country, or the world for that matter, to invest in. Because the last time I checked, the color of money is green no matter where you create it at. So it's also about understanding that real estate is not just your hometown or your backyard. It's global.
The best advice you were given?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Was the best advice that I was given. Is if you believe something deep in your heart and you believe that it's why you live, you believe it's your purpose, you just don't give up. And I'm glad that I've taken that advice. I know that's not the typical entrepreneurial real estate advice. It's a holistic advice, and it's not to give up. I could imagine what my life would have been like if I gave up when I got frustrated. Yeah, don't give up.
So talk about entrepreneurship and motherhood.
So nothing matters except my relationship with God and my ability to have a great relationship with my children. Being an entrepreneur, it allowed me to have more time with them and have them grow up in the business. Specifically, my youngest two grew up in the business. So my daughter, no surprise, she's in real estate, got her MBA. She's been in business, the real estate business her whole life. My youngest son as well. It also, being a mother is what made me become an entrepreneur. So I was working at Albert Einstein in New York, and I was a chief administrator managing, I think it was $59 million in grants and contracts. And I enjoyed my job. It paid me very well. It was very comfortable. But I came home one day and my daughter was walking and I missed it. And I was like, oh, that doesn't work for me. So it really forced me to get control over my time and really become a mom and really not miss those moments that I'll never get back.
Self-care, what does that look like to you, Dr. Roberta?
That looks like some time alone. That looks like prayer. That looks like journaling. That looks like crying. That looks like laughing. That looks like the spa. That looks like loving me in spite of me. That means embracing my faults, embracing my insecurities, embracing things that went wrong in my life, and just loving on me and taking and understanding that everything is for purpose, right? And taking any type of pain and turning it into power. So self-care is a lot mental for me. It's more mental than physical, meaning outside of the spa, right? So self-care is making sure that I get my mind right. And of course, getting in the gym. Oh, but my favorite self-care is walking in the woods. I walk in the woods. It is the weirdest thing. And they're like, what is this chocolate girl doing in the woods? But I love the woods. It gives me such a peace of mind. So yeah, so that's self-care for me.
You talked about the mental wellness. Talk about that in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so it is very important that we have a clear mind. It is very important that we're in tune with our mental stability or instability. Entrepreneurs are creators and they're visionaries. And whenever you're a visionary or a creative person, you're going to have multiple things in your thought process. I think I can get some yes there. You have multiple things. And if we're not careful, we can go on overload. It is important that we take inventory of where we are mentally, also know how to prioritize the ideas and the creativity that we have, know what to put the effort in and what not to put the effort in, but very mindful. And I can hear someone say, well, how do you be mindful? How do you know what to do? And here's the answer. Your body will tell you what you're thinking. And what I mean by that is if you are feeling anxious, if you're thinking of something that's making you uncomfortable, your body will feel anxious. A lot of times people, especially entrepreneurs, run into this uncertainty of like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. This doesn't feel comfortable. I'm a retreat, right? But that's because you don't have enough clarity or answer to go forward. But your body is throwing you into a negative vibration because you feel ill prepared. You have to have enough mindfulness to understand one is not so much, and may or may not, but most times it's not so much of you retreating more than it is saying, okay, what do I need to prepare to be comfortable to make these next moves? So it's all mindset. It's all about how you think and how you process, but your body will always tell you what you think. It always, if you're in happy vibration, you'll feel it in your body, right? You just feel it. So be in tune with how your body is feeling, and then that'll tell you what your mind is thinking.
When you talk about mindset as a young single mother, how did you get into mindset and how did you change your mindset?
Very good question. The mindset, and if I know nothing but transparency, I know nothing about except what I've truly done. And I think people love me and maybe not like me because of my transparency, but I have to keep it 100% transparent. So as a single mother, it wasn't as if I took some self-help courses and was like, oh, let me get into mindset. Let me manage my mind. Like I was not Dr. Roberta Hoskie at that time. I was punking. I was a girl from the hood, right? I was 17 and was battling poverty in a project. So I was a different person. But the shift was, there was one day I went to church. It's in my book, Poverty Curse Broken. There was one day I went to church. My mother invited me to church. And reluctantly I went. I didn't want to go, but I went. And I brought my son with me at the time. He was about 2 or something, like about 2, maybe between 1 and 2. But I was holding him on my hip. And then there was a man of God, and he began to speak. He said something very simple, very simple. And he said to me as I held my son, his life is directly linked to yours. It was so simple. But when I tell you that thing shifted inside of me, that's the first time I think I thought about my life. Everything else was autopilot. You'll be surprised how many people live their life on autopilot. So I was on autopilot, and then his life is linked to mine. What does my life look like, and what do I have to offer him? That's when it got real. I realized I was a wreck. You cannot change what you don't see. So at the time, I saw that I was a whole wreck. I was a high school dropout. I was okay being on welfare, getting the chicken wings at the club. I was okay with my welfare check. I was okay with the food stamps. I was okay with the $79 rent because I wasn't homeless anymore. But I was a wreck. And if I was a wreck, I love my son more than I love myself. And I couldn't pass down generational poverty. So it wasn't like I was saying, let me do this for me. It was, let me do it for my son because I love myself more than me. But God saw that as I was working and doing for my son and changing his life, whatever that may be, he changed our lives.
And the book, if someone's interested in purchasing Poverty Curse Broken, how can they purchase the book?
It's available all over Barnes and Noble, Amazon. But if you want a personalized autographed copy, I'm going to suggest that you go to my website, connectwithroberta.com. Connectwithroberta.com. And then you can get the books directly from my team, and I will autograph it to you with a message if I feel fit.
Thank you for that.
Welcome.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not. They've inspired you so much. Who is the person, and what are you saying to this person?
Cynthia Pulley. And I am saying thank you for loving me when I didn't know how to love myself. And I'm saying thank you, look at me with my emotional self, for pouring into a young girl, a child that wasn't your own. I'm going to say thank you for telling me to keep going and not give up. And I'm going to say thank you for telling me that God had a plan for my life when I was such a wreck. And I'm going to say thank you for praying for me and teaching me how to pray and being a great example of how a woman is to carry herself. Yeah, I love her. She took me out of a shelter when I was living in a shelter. Not my mother, not my family members, but a woman and her husband, which were pastors. And they said that they took me out, and I'll never forget. They said, "You're destined for greatness, honey. You're destined for greatness, and God's going to use your story." And so even being on this live feed right now and on this podcast right now is nothing more than prophecy being fulfilled, because they say God is going to use your story and it is going to inspire so many people when I was 12. So I got to say thank you for them being obedient.
Very
So that was
powerful.
deep.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
What is the best decision you have made as a leader?
To lead with transparency and to foster the growth of other leaders. I think that too many of us lead as if everything is perfect. And then people have a false understanding of what it really takes to be successful. And they think it's the picture painted on a canvas, when you have to be authentically be you. And I'm authentically me with all of the issues that I have and had in my life. But most importantly, I want the women and the men that I lead to become leaders and be the best version of themselves. That is the purpose.
What is your zone of genius?
The ability to move from the inside out, the ability to move by things that I don't naturally see in the physical realm, but the ability to create it. That's a lot.
Your purpose, why are you here?
To help people break the poverty curse, starting with the household of faith,
Amen.
and help people create streams of income, wealth, and generational wealth. To be an example in the face of no excuses. I often tell people when I speak across the country and the world at this point, if I was a white man telling you about how to invest in real estate and how to create streams of income and how to break poverty, you can tell me to shut up and sit down somewhere because I don't identify. I'm a Black girl from the hood. Can't tell me that. So I'm a face of no excuses. And so I do believe that my purpose is to help elevate my people, and not just my people globally, but definitely starting with the household of faith and women.
Fill in the blank. Thank you, pandemic, because.
It taught me how to use my creative beings. Thank you, pandemic, because you had me sit down with myself. Thank you, pandemic, because you helped me create 1,000 Black families, which is a national homeownership program to help people become homeowners despite the boundaries that are in their way. Yeah, pandemic was good. Thank you, pandemic, for teaching me how to pray
Every day. Praying through the pandemic. Absolutely. Let's talk about writing the book. Wrote the book through, is it correct, TBN?
Yes, trilogies. Yeah, TBN.
Okay. So did they approach you or did you approach them? Tell us the process.
Well, I had a PR person that was working with me at the time, and she had a connection with TBN. And so she connected me with them. Yeah, so she connected me with them. I had already written a book. It wasn't complete, it was in draft form, and she sent it over to them. And that's how we got connected. And then I did an interview, and then they had me edit some things because some of the characters, AKA family members, had choice words in my book and they said they couldn't have it in TBN. So I had to do some editing and things like that. But yeah.
What's next? Would you write another book?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's been in my heart and my spirit very heavily recently in the last couple of months to write a sequel, another book about poverty curse broken, but in this one to give more of the life now as well as the tools, what's needed to break the poverty curse. The first book is about my life and breaking it and just really the trauma. But this one is like, okay, how did you thrive? How do we get here? How do we get to the next level? This is the evolution of Roberta Hoskie.
Talk about your top two mentors or influencers and what lessons did they teach you?
I have to say, I got to go with Bob Proctor and Napoleon Hill. Neither are still living. Both are white men. They shaped mindset and they've done a lot of research as it relates to wealthy people, significantly wealthy people, down to the Rockefellers and just so many Vanderbilt, so many people of wealth. And they had the ability to teach the mindset of those people. And they also had the ability to tie it to what I relate to, which is the Bible. So as they're teaching universe, I can correlate that to God, right? And so they were very powerful there with just shaping the thought process.
Dr. Roberta, there are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or business that's dominating that you admire and why.
I definitely love EXP Realty. I love them dominating in the real estate industry as relates to real estate agents. And the reason why is because one, they're using technology and they're allowing their agents to really work as little enterprises, but they're also allowing their agents to build teams and get a percentage of the money that they bring in on the teams. And I also love that they solved a problem in the real estate industry where there's so many people who are real estate agents, but there's no retirement plan. So they allow for their agents to invest in stock options and things of that nature. So I think they're brilliant on that level. EXP, that's a brand that I really love. Not endorsing it because I have my own brokerage, but I admire what they do.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
What Do you need that you don't have to move the needle forward?
I'm looking for a new mentor. I need a new mentor because I'm at this point in my life where I want to do something higher in real estate. I want to start building high-end communities. I mean, high-end communities. And I want to build them from ground up. I've built and I've flipped and I'm doing international building in Dominican Republic, but that's in tourism. It's not the community. So I am moving towards that way and I'm looking for, I believe I'm gonna receive it, a mentor in that arena very soon.
And how do you vet a mentor?
You base the tree by the fruit it bears. So what has been accomplished? What have you done? The heart of the person, their ability to transfer knowledge, because a lot of people have information and knowledge, they just don't know how to transfer it. And that's the ability to articulate in certain ways to teach. So that's important as well. But really the heart and their willingness, but also the results that they've had in their life.
What book would you recommend and why?
I'm going to recommend two. One is Purpose Driven Life. I think that it's important that we understand why we're here. Otherwise, we're just being, like I said earlier, on autopilot, just here. So I believe that we need to all identify our purpose. Our purpose isn't lost, it's inside of us. We have to identify it. So we don't have to find our purpose, it's not lost. So purpose driven life. And the other one would be, I'm gonna say Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a good one, Richard Kiyosaki. And it talked about mindset as relates to investments, and it correlated it with people and how they think. And of course, I'm going to say Poverty Curse Broken, a Roberta Hoskie story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What problem exists in the world today that you'd like to solve?
The unity amongst women. The unity amongst women, as well as, I think when we solve the problem of the unity of women, and this is Millionaire Mindset Sisterhood, then we'll understand that our powers are in each other and that we're more powerful together than we will ever be separated. And within the Millionaire Mindset Sisterhood, we do group economics. So we acquire properties together. And many of these women would never been able to invest in real estate by themselves. But because we unified, we were able to acquire property, we were able to rehab it, we were able to sell it. We were able to beat a bank. We literally became a bank and assume mortgages now. So we're holding mortgages, and Millionaire Mindset Sisters are getting dividends from that. But it all starts with the unification and understanding that we're better together. One could chase 1,000, two could put 10,000 to flight. So there's supernatural power in unity. And so I want to help unify women, regardless of the color of their skin. But I also want to help them create streams of income and create generational wealth, breaking the poverty curse.
Absolutely. What do you dream about often that you have not done that you'd like to do?
Build my mansion. I mean, I'm happy with what I have. I have a beautiful home. I have beautiful homes. I've lived in beautiful homes. But I got this vision in my head that I just have to build this thing. And I think it came from, this is funny. So I have it right on my board. I have a vision board. I'm into a vision board. So I have a vision of the foyer. I'm looking at it right now. And so I showed someone my vision board and the picture of the foyer in my house. And they're like, where did you get that from? I was like, I don't know. It's been in my head since a little girl. So I had this picture in my head from since a very little girl of this amazing house with this foyer that is insane. So yeah, I gotta build that. I'll be building it in maybe next year or the year after at the latest. I said 2024, so probably break ground in 2024. But yeah, I gotta build that. Living from the inside out.
I love that. I love that. Why are you an entrepreneur? Talk about your why.
Freedom, financial freedom, creativity. Financial freedom is huge. I believe that we've been told one of the biggest lies, and that lie is called job security. I believe we have been lied to, and I believe that we fed into the lie and believed it. But there's no job security if someone can give you a pink piece of paper and lay you off. Like there's no security in that. That's very insecure. But what is secure is when I sign my own paychecks. I'm not laying myself off. So that in my thought process is being financially secure and financial freedom to be able to control your own finances, whether it's up, whether it's down, it's all your fault. And it's okay because I can control it.
Let's take a snapshot of the last 30 days. What was your biggest win?
My daughter graduated. My daughter just graduated with her MBA, and she graduated from Quinnipiac College. But the biggest win was her graduating. But I went to Quinnipiac and I had to stop going to school when I was studying for my business degree because I got pregnant with her. But here she is, goes back to the school, gets a higher degree from that school, and walks across that stage. So, yes.
Congratulations. That is
Generations. Yes.
awesome. That is
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, that right there, that was it. That was it. I was like, God, you are not playing. When I was all stressed out, I was crying and boohooing because I had to stop school and take care of them and all the stuff that was going on. It's in the book. But yeah, to see her cross that stage, same school, and have a master's degree on the same campus from God is good. I love it. So yeah, that's the biggest one. My daughter.
How do you celebrate wins?
Taking time and just being grateful, reflecting. I'm a very reflective person. I reflect a lot. I think that keeps me humble and keeps me grounded. But I celebrate wins by just thanking God. You know, God, you are amazing because you didn't have to do it, but you did. I thank you for trusting me. I thank you for allowing this to happen in my life. I am so grateful for you to allow me to see my daughter cross the stage and I just get to a place of thankfulness and gratefulness. And I'll probably be crying because I'm a little emotional wreck sometimes. When I start thinking about life and what he has done for me, I just get overwhelmed a little.
And speaking of gratitude, I want you to have a thank fest. I
Hmm.
want you to thank people and situations that has really impacted your life.
How long I got?
You have all day.
No. All right. So people in situation, I want to thank my godparents for believing in me, Cynthia and Bob Pulley. I want to thank them for taking me out of the shelter. I want to thank my biological mom for being an example of a woman who is a prayer warrior and changing her life in front of me. I also want to thank my biological mom for having a hard relationship with me. And I'm thanking that because that was necessary to build who I am today. I also want to thank my first son's father for being an abusive man in my life because it made my story even more powerful and I was able to identify with women who have been abused. I want to thank my teachers, the Sizemores, who poured into me in middle school. I want to thank my teacher, Miss Rosa, who brought me shoes when I had holes in my shoes. I want to thank her for just loving on this little girl. And I want to thank everyone that supported me. I want to thank my brother for being my dad. I want to thank my dad for being the best version of what he could be. I want to thank my family members who supported me, and I want to thank the family members who did not support me. I just want to thank them because they all work together for good. I'm just so happy for each role that each person played in my life. I want to most of all thank my children for giving me and showing me what real love is, and specifically my firstborn, who had me change my life. And because of him and because God's seeing fit to put him in my life, everything else has changed. So I thank God for my son and my children, my youngest son and my daughters. I thank God for those babies. They are such a blessing because that's where I saw love.
Thank you for that. That's powerful. Advice you wish you had followed.
I wish I would have followed budgeting when I was young. Yeah, that was huge because I even as an entrepreneur, I didn't embrace the financial literacy until later. So I wish I would have embraced financial literacy earlier. I would have been further along in my life, personal life, and as well as my business life. So I wish I would have embraced that and understanding the impact of credit earlier. It was after I became an entrepreneur that I started looking at that stuff because it was necessary when I'm getting denied. So yeah, I wish I would have learned that earlier.
What is your biggest takeaway from our conversation today? What do you want the audience to leave with?
I want them to know that it is possible. Whatever that it is in your life, that it is possible. I want them to dream. And when I say dream, I'll give you my acronym for dream, DREAM. Dream is divinely. D is for divinely. R is for revealed. E is for event. A is for awaiting. And M is manifestation. Your dream is a divinely revealed event in your life awaiting for you to manifest it. And I want you to dream big. If it's something that you can accomplish right now, it's too small. If it's something that you think that you can manifest and put together without fear, it's too small. You have to be so big that it scares you, that you're totally dependent on God or totally dependent on God to manifest this thing because you don't know how. But that is the very thing that you can manifest. You want to do those things that people think are impossible. As an entrepreneur, I want you to make life bigger than you. So although you have a business, I want you to look at your business as a ministry of help. I want you to understand that it may create streams of income for you, but first and foremost, understand that you're helping someone and that you sow seeds into the life of the people that you help. And so I want you to continue to sow great seeds into people. I want you to break any generational cycles, whether it be poverty or any family generational cycles, so that the next generation does not have to repeat it. I want you to know that if you do nothing, if you do not fight poverty, if you do not break generational curses, and you sit on the wayside and you see it happening, and you see it in your family, you see it in your bloodline, and you don't put up a fight or put in the work to change it, by default, the next generation will repeat your poverty. Do nothing and you will see it repeat. But you have to be able to have courage to be the change. You have to be the courage to be a trendsetter. And you have to have courage to break the poverty curse. But I started with, it's possible.
If you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Where are you going, Roberta? You've done all of this stuff in life, but where are you going? Because you still have so much life ahead of you. And here's the answer. I'm going to say. I'm going to find out how impactful I can be in this world. I am going to find out just how many people I can help think different, invest in real estate, and collaborate. I'm going to find out how many I could provoke to purpose. And I'm also know that I'm saying I'm going to find out, but I know that I can't number them because of the impact that I'm going to have. What's next is building these communities, but that's here, but elevating from that and building in different countries and building in different slums and areas of impoverished countries and building those countries up, utilizing the people there and empowering the people there and helping them create streams of income. I'm just beginning.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
Okay.
And if it's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
Let's go.
Your ideal car.
Maserati.
What comfort food you enjoy?
Cheetos.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Cheetos.
You relax doing what?
Walking in the woods.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
That's weird because I love music. I don't have a favorite. That's weird.
Your favorite dance song?
I love to dance though. This is weird because I love to dance. I love to dance. Any music I'm dancing, but okay, go ahead.
The last movie you saw?
Fast and Furious. The new one that just came out.
Your favorite month?
July.
Your favorite color?
Red.
Dr. Roberta Hoskie, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you, and leave all of your social media handles.
Absolutely. So I can be reached on social media On Facebook, Roberta Hoskie, Roberta Hoskie. The verified profile is my profile on Facebook, as well as verified on Instagram. I'm on TikTok as well as YouTube. You can feel free to send me an email at rhoskie, RHOSKIE, at outreachrealtyservices.com, outreachrealtyservices.com. You can feel free to email. And also you can send texts to 203-903-8529, 203-903-8529. And of course, you can go to robertahoskie.com.
Thank you, Dr. Roberta. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.